Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, for another YouTube video. Allincrypto here, and today we are going to be talking about Hedera and Davos primarily. However, towards the latter half of the video, we are going to be looking at how Toshiba is now utilizing Hedera's Hashgraph, and of course, bringing up ABRDN again, which is the largest hedge fund in the United Kingdom, that of course are already tokenizing some of their funds on the Hedera DAG, the Hedera distributed ledger. So we have a lot to get into, and I suppose I should just start by talking about Davos and what it is. So Davos is something that is put on by the World Economic Forum. It's where governments and industry leaders come together and discuss the future, essentially. And Hedera has chosen to sponsor this event over in Switzerland. So we can already see the Hedera banners flying high at the hotel. And ultimately, there's going to be a lot of coverage, which I want to go through with you guys in this video at the actual event in regards to Hedera and some of the speakers that they have lined up, kind of exposing Hedera to governments and industry, institutional leaders. I just want to segue a little bit because I do think this is important. You know, the reasons that I got into distributed ledger technology, into Bitcoin and then Monero, and I went down that whole path, was because I ultimately believe in decentralization, okay? Not just from a system point of view, which is what these distributed ledgers are all about. These ledgers utilize distribution for a number of reasons. Of course, we know that it gives a kind of fairer world that you have a say in. But one of the main reasons they use distributed ledgers is because it essentially allows them to work. This idea of having a distributed network makes it more efficient, often more secure, and of course cost effective. And it takes away the powers from the kind of institutions that govern our lives. And we are very fascinated in the kind of deep in space, which is something that I think we're yet to even see gain any kind of traction. This idea of decentralized infrastructure to challenge the likes of Amazon, Google, Microsoft, and everything in between. Very important in the AI, technocratic, techno-feudalistic world that we're moving towards. So that's why I got into crypto. And some of you may comment and say, well, how come you're highlighting something like Hedera, which instead of coming out of the whole ethos of Bitcoin and to move away from these institutions and to have your own money and to kind of combat them, Hedera, I think, has some similar roots, but in many regards is positioned differently, in the sense that instead of trying to disrupt the institutions, it actually is looking for those institutions to adopt it, and on top of that is actually ran and governed by these institutions like Google, like Dell, and all the other big names that there are on the governing council. Now, whether that is morally right or not is for you guys to decide. But ultimately, the way I see Hedera is as a massive opportunity to capitalize on a very early stage asset class, the crypto space, that is going to become infinitely larger and actually play more and more of a significant role in all our lives. So I often split cryptos into categories: the rebellion and the empire. And I would probably move Hedera over to the empire sector. There are elements of Hedera that are in line with the rebellion, but ultimately Hedera, if you understand it, it's took a very different approach, not only in regards to how they do distributed ledger technology via being a DAG, not a blockchain, a traditional linear blockchain, but also in regards to their path of adoption. So they're not necessarily, although it is a big part of what they do, about toppling over the institutions that already exist. They're more in line with actually upgrading these institutions and having these institutions leverage their blockchain and thus bring on board billions and millions of users. So I just want to say that I am all for decentralization. You know, however, I am an investor in Hedera, which perhaps may seem contradictory to some people, and that's an internal fight that you have to have with yourself. But all that being said, Hedera is going to be front and center stage at Davos. Let's go over to the announcement over on the Hedera website, which essentially is mentioning that they are going to be in Switzerland. And it says here, our activities at this esteemed hotel will include hosting a series of events at the main bar, as well as organizing private invite-only dinners and lunches centered around the topic of tokenization, demystifying digital asset management, and exploring how blockchain can effectively govern innovation. Now, rather interesting with their post, you can see that actually if you go over to the World Economic Forum's website, the World Economic Forum annual meeting, which is Davos, the main agenda is to rebuild trust. Now, what are blockchains all about? Verifiability, trust, transparency. And if we actually go ahead and read on, it says about the meeting, the 54th annual meeting of the World Economic Forum will provide a crucial space to focus on the fundamental principles driving trust, including transparency, consistency, and accountability. They might as well have just said blockchain. This annual meeting will welcome over 100 governments, all major international organizations, thousands of formed partners, as well as civil society leaders, experts, youth representatives, social enterprises, and news outlets. So basically, anybody who's anybody in the institutional world is going to be at Davos, and they are all going to be subjected to Hedera in one way, shape, or form. And actually, I think this is a factor, or could be a factor, in regards to the exposure, in regards to why we think that Hedera is going to be probably one of the best plays in the bull run that we are now in from an altcoin point of view. You know, Hedera, in my opinion, is absolutely primed to do very well for the reasons that we've just discussed. And of course, being front and center at Davos is going to bring a lot of exposure and potentially forge new partnerships. What I want to do now, guys, is actually go over and take a look at the talks, what the talks are, when they are, and then we're going to move on to a number of other things like ABRDN and, of course, Toshiba. So let's dive over to talk number one. So talk number one is going to be on the Tuesday, and it is going to be about tokenizing everything from clothes on your back to your tickets to space. So we have talking the CEO and founder of SB Global. We have NASA's astronaut and CEO at Space for Art Foundation. We have board member at Big Lots and PetMed. We've got Scott Thiel, who of course is the founder of Toko by DLL Piper. And then we've got Christina Korp, the CEO of Space for a Better World. The next talk that is going to be taking place is on the Wednesday, and it is all about reinforcing trust, which is very much in line with the World Economic Forum's overarching agenda by unleashing blockchain in finance. So we have Laura Abstrash, who is the chair of Deloitte US. We've got Elisa Haas, the CFO of Coinbase. We've got Franz Bergmuller, the CEO of Amina Bank AG, Betsab Batatis, the CFO and treasurer of Hedera, and we have Sandra Rowe, the CEO of Global Blockchain Business Council. Then on the Thursday, we've got using blockchain to govern innovation from AI to the future of money. We have Govinda, the CEO and founder of Digital Twin Labs. We've got Dr. Lehman Bard, who is the co-founder and CEO of Swirls Labs. We've got Jonathan Doughton, the CEO and founder of EQTY Labs. We've got Monique Morrow, the independent board member of Hedera. And we've got David, a professor of practice at the Imperial College. So a rather interesting lineup. And that is pretty much it for speakers. There are a number of other, perhaps minor speakers going on, but ultimately Hedera are sponsoring the whole event. So there's going to be lots of exposure there. And we've already seen a lot of exposure to Hedera via its governing council. Just to refresh everyone before we talk about Toshiba and how they're now utilizing Hedera's technology, let's talk a little bit about ABRDN. Now, ABRDN is the largest hedge fund in the United Kingdom with $600 billion, just under $600 billion under management. And they are already beginning tokenizing their funds, the money market funds that they have. And ultimately, if any of you have been paying attention to what Larry Fink has been saying recently, he's been saying for a while now that this is all about tokenization. ETFs is a step in that to the eventual tokenization of everything. And very interesting that Hedera are going to be sort of headlining at Davos and mingling with many of these big names. To move on now to a little bit of news in regards to Toshiba and the Coupon Bureau that utilizes and has a partnership with Hedera in regards to how they maintain coupons to stop all the fraud that takes place. Toshiba and the Coupon Bureau team up to use Hedera HBAR. So this was an article that we published over at allincrypto.com. If you're not already, if you haven't already checked out our website, please do so. We also have added and enabled a portfolio tracker so that you guys can track your portfolios across as many platforms as you desire to do so. But the Coupon Bureau, this was the official announcement that came out in regards to Toshiba. The Coupon Bureau integrates with Toshiba Global Commerce Solutions to enable universal coupons in retail. It goes on to say, the Coupon Bureau, a commercial non-profit coupon standard organization, is proud to announce strategic integration of Toshiba Global Commerce Solutions, a global leader in retail store technology. This collaboration aims to revolutionize the retail industry by integrating universal coupons into Toshiba's point-of-sale system. And then let's go over to the Hedera website, which talks about the Coupon Bureau and how they are essentially utilizing Hedera, which is rather interesting. They're using Hedera's APIs. They're creating IDs to register these coupons so that fraud cannot take place. And distributed ledger technology is really revolutionizing most industries because ultimately, you know, these systems are going to get adopted, not necessarily because people, you know, they think it's cool or it's a fad or something like that, because it genuinely revolutionizes the traditional systems that we have in place. And that's Hedera's entire approach. So I think we have a pretty epic 2024 coming up for Hedera. We're going to be following that journey and reporting on it. So if you're not already a subscriber, do consider becoming one. And of course, if you have enjoyed this content, a like and a comment is always appreciated. And I want to know your thoughts on this whole thing. Do you see an issue in regards to investing in Hedera based on their involvement with Davos and perhaps the likes of the World Economic Forum? Or do you see this as an investment like I do that's going to do well because of these factors? On that note, I'm going to love and leave you. If you've enjoyed the content, like is appreciated, so as a comment, and I will catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching, guys. See you in the next.